All right. Woo! Let's get down to business. October, Spooktober. Ooh, let's go. So, y'all, it's insane to me. Like, it will always be insane to me that men can go years and still you got to this day people talking about Hitler did this and Hitler did that and he did this and he helped this and that, and if he didn't shut the up about Hitler, okay? Hitler was bad. He's always going to be bad. He did not contribute jack diddly to anybody, okay? So stop. But I digress. Let me get to what I'm trying to say. Nurse Ratched is not evil. Let me get this clear. Let me get this straight right now. Don't get it twisted. It was a crazy, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a very intricate and crazy story. I could barely get through it. But let me explain to you, Miss Ratched, this Nurse Ratched is not evil. I'm gonna have to break this down into two parts. First part is gonna be about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Second is going to be about Miss Ratched, the Ratched series on Netflix. So let's get started, right? This movie is quite boring. You can barely get through it. If you can get through first and second acts, you can get through the third act. But I had to go to sleep and wake up and watch the rest of it because it is boring. It is boring. Where's the music? Where's the music? There's no like soundtrack to this crap. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nurse Ratched's only at fault for doing her job. Her delivery, seemingly smug to men who want to watch sports or not take their meds. There's a lot of misogyny within the film. Jack's character, McMurphy, lies about his mental state in order to escape harsh conditions of a prison. He's violent. Like, he's violent. He will punch or kill anyone who stands in his way. But yeah, he's supposedly the protagonist of this crap story. He's a ball-loving fool who acts as a pseudo-hero for these mentally unstable people. Regardless, he is not a protagonist in any way, shape, or form. Merely the main character we are following. Miss Nurse, I can't believe that. I cannot believe. Like, people... There are videos. If you type Nurse Ratched in, like, straight up, it'll say she's evil. Like, I have never read the books. If there's a book about Miss Ratched, or if she really exists or whatever, I have no idea. All I know is she is not evil based on both movie and show. Both movie and show, she is not evil at all whatsoever. It's insane. Y'all love to make... When women are in power, they are automatically evil. In order for them to not be evil, they have to be dopey, doopy, crappy, wappy, disgusting, dumb fools. Idiots. Any sort of brain cell in their skull, and they're turned evil. But whatever. I digress. I gotta get back to this thing. Like, this dude, the moment he gets in there, he makes fun of this Native American dude who's supposedly his friend by the end. It could be to add to his cover, but he appeared to be having too much fun making fun of this Native American man. Most of the movie, we see the faults of Jack's character, McMurphy, not Ratched. Ratched is made out as a fuddy-duddy tyrant when she has to keep order. That's all she's doing, keeping order. If she were a man, he'd be praised as a redeemable anti-hero, much like Jack's character. He's not bringing joy to their lives. He selfishly puts these mentally ill people in danger. He causes riots. He steals a bus. He lies. And above all, he's a violent criminal. Miss Ratched's not a violent criminal. Okay, let me tell you about someone who is evil. Have y'all seen Misery? She was a nurse. The woman in that movie was a nurse, and she was evil. She hobbled someone. Nurse Ratched don't even do the stuff that actually happens to people. It's other people. It's other people. There's a doctor above her who's the shots. She's not the one who calls the shots. Sorry to break it to you. And back in these days, she was a nurse. She was not a doctor. She was a nurse. When you go and you get heart surgery or whatever, do you look at the nurse and be like, okay, I'm gonna pay you and da 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 da, and this is you're gonna be the one doing this? Or you go to the doctors. You don't go to the nurse's office. This isn't school. Miss Ratched literally did nothing this whole movie. I was really disappointed because I thought she was going to be some strong villainess, some maleficent. But no, she isn't at all. Ratched isn't the villain, but the squeaky wheel of the issue of the situation. McMurphy yells at them for not doing what he wants. Yells at them, the patients. Yeah, the patients who are mentally ill. He only pushes to liberate the patients to get freedom for himself. He had these prostitutes waiting outside for him. Ratched tries her best to keep order, but is foiled by Jack's character, McMurphy. What? So he's a hero for busting his fist through a glass to steal cigarettes? Like, yeah, that really happens. He steals cigarettes from inside somebody's glass because some dude was going crazy. He's like, I want my cigarettes. He was mentally ill. He could say he want his dolly. Does that mean you go and fight and get it for him? Or he needs to take his medicine and get help? Tell me. But whatever. He's provoked into a frenzy. Like that dude that he provoked into a frenzy. He was the one he got the cigarettes. I guess he felt bad because he's the one that made him go into that said frenzy. It wasn't Miss Ratched. Nope, sirree, Bob. Okay, whatever. It's hard to watch without music, like I said. And later down the line, he gets shocked. No one should have shock therapy, but he is a violent criminal. Dude befriends the chief, like the Native American guy. Of course they're friends because he manipulates everyone around him. He manipulated that Native American guy. He sneaks alcohol into the psych ward. Women in this movie, I can't even. The nurses are made out to be villains. The prostitutes are made out to be stupid and dipsy. The music comes around like Christmas time, quote unquote Christmas time. It's not sure. It's not really shown that it's Christmas. They just are all drunk and having stuff out everywhere. They make alcohol like liberation when it's actually debilitation. And I'll get to that in a second. He pimps out his girlfriend to this dude. And it's like, wow, okay. Really? Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. Okay? If y'all want to see a movie about a psych ward and someone being done wrong, there's this movie called Changeling, starring Angelina Jolie, where a single mother struggles to raise her son alone and work to provide for him and herself. When she goes to work, right? Because everyone's got to go to work. But it doesn't matter if a woman has kids or not. She's still got to go to work. She has to provide for her and her son without any help. And she gets repaid by her son being missing out of her house. Her own house. The door's open like someone just took him. The police are incompetent as usual and decide rather than looking for him, they replaced her son with some random little boy. She notices everything is different, but they gaslight her into barely implying maybe, sorta, kinda, she's content on camera, so they post it in the news. She refuses to give up on her son, however, and is punished for being a good mother and a provider by being placed in a psych ward for women. She learns that all the women in there were dropped off by their husbands, fathers, or men in their life, so they would be tortured by a real villain, the warden of the hospital, this dude, this loser, this scrub, who tells the woman she either signs saying the police are so perfect and that her son is safe at home, or she die in the ward. She is saved from being electrocuted by friends, And if she didn't have those friends, she would have been dead. She would have died in there. It's a good movie. But this is not the same thing. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, McMurphy is a violent criminal. Angelina Jolie's character is not violent. She was just trying to do what every mother wants to do. Take care of her kid. But But McMurphy's the one who is the protagonist of this crap movie. Nurse Ratched barely raises her voice in this movie. She just sits there. She just sits there. And she's evil? What on earth? In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like, she just sits there. She's called evil and she just sits there. She barely raises her voice. Like, I don't like how she looks at the black men that work for her, but she's not evil. Everyone claps for a mentally ill person to be abused by a prostitute. He could not give consent under the conditions he was in. Miss Ratched speaks about his mom because she was attempting to regain control of her hospital. It was jacked and he committed suicide, but it was not evil. She had no idea that was going to be the conclusion of the situation. McMurphy strangles Miss Ratched after she was like, okay, we need to get back. We need to get order. We need to get order in here. He's like, oh, that's not good enough. Let me be stupid and just grab you. And like, he got lobotomized. At the end, he got lobotomized because he straight up attacked her. He could have walked out the door. He literally opened the door. His prostitute girls were outside waiting for him. And all he had to do was jump out the window. But no, he wanted to go out and kill her, I guess. He was trying so hard to kill her. But he didn't, of course. Of course not. He had to be the one, I can't even. It's super annoying. It's super annoying. Like, he wasn't supposed to be there. If he would have been a man and stayed in prison, that man wouldn't have committed suicide. But Ratched is blamed for trying to keep order. In reality, McMurphy had no idea what medications anyone was taking. The alcohol could have made him suicidal regardless of what anyone would have said to him. The patients speak of McMurphy, a crazed lunatic, as a hero because they are all mentally ill. People love to talk about how times were different. Times were back then, but that was different. But no one wants to say that when it comes to the medical field. Like, people be like, oh, this is horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. That's what they were doing. They were putting leeches on their skin because they thought that the blood inside you was making you sick. And if you cut open yourself and blood out, then the illness would go away. That doesn't mean we do that now. That means we acknowledge the fact that it happened. But no one wants to talk about it back in the day. This is what happened when it's viable. The medical field was a lot of trial and error. And I believe Miss Ratched is, she's like guilty of nothing but trying to keep order and being in that position. If Miss Ratched was now, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be electrocuting people in the head. And also, she wasn't even the one to do it. It was someone else. The doctors had to say it was yes or nay, yay or nay. But no one talks about how the doctor's evil. They talk about how Miss Ratched is evil. McMurphy did more harm than good to even be there. But you know what? Like, that's it. Like, I kind of went through this pretty quickly because it's kind of like, I'm just like, amazes me. I literally just finished this. I just finished One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, and I am so disappointed. I thought Miss Ratched was going to be some cool, some cunning. All she does is stand there. All she does is sit there. She's not evil. Like, it just goes to show when any woman in power is evil. That's why Hillary Clinton lost. That's why so many things are like, people be like, oh, she's corrupt. She's corrupt. Trump's corrupt. Every single president we've ever had, corrupt. So I don't understand why it's any different when it's a woman. It's just worse. It's just worse, honestly. But I'm done with this. I'm going to make part 2. Like I said, Miss Ratched so far, I've already seen the Ratched show on Netflix. So my part 2 will be basically about that. But this video was about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you take anything away from it, just know that when someone calls a woman evil, you got to look more into it, because it's like, what on earth did she do that was so evil? Like, that McMurphy was the evil one. He gave all of them alcohol. They all took a medication for X, Y, and Z. He has no idea what the medication does. If you look on the back of any medication bottle, from medicine for your back, pain, anything, it says do not take with alcohol. It says do not take with alcohol. What are the odds that that man commits suicide right after he just was drunk? But Miss Ratched is evil, right? She's the one that gave him the alcohol, right? I'm done.